Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of Really Dicey. I'm Manny.
And I'm RJ. And today we are reviewing the latest sourcebook from Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, titled Bigby Presents, Glory of the Giants from Wizards of the Coast. Or just the Giants book, because whoever names these books is evidently paid by the word.
And just like the other source books, this comes with two covers to choose from. This has seven major sections, the Encastra Saga, character creation, giants in play, giant adventures, giant enclaves, or enclaves, giant treasures, and a bestiary. So one thing I want to share before we start a discussion about each chapter, our review is based on a digital version of the book, which can be found in D&D Beyond. Also, this is one of the quickest D&D books I've read, not because of the lack of content, but because there's a lot of great content in here. But you can tell that they wrote this so that anyone of any age can pick this book up and enjoy it. All right, RJ, Chapter 1, Character Creation. For players, this is the most important chapter. Would you like to explain what this chapter offers to players and why you think it's good?
Yeah, so this book doesn't introduce giants as a playable lineage, but it offers ways to make your character giant adjacent. So there's a new barbarian subclass called Path of the Giant, whose main feature is enlarging when you rage. It gives you an extra 5 feet of reach and it makes you large. This could be useful in combination with other parts of a character build. At 6th level, when you rage, you can make any weapon you're holding have the thrown property and change its damage type to one of the 5 elemental damage types, and it teleports back to your hand after you throw it. So both of these options mean that a barbarian can control a larger area around them. At 10th level, you can throw people around too, which is an excellent battlefield control technique. So overall, I would say this subclass looks promising. Then there's the two new backgrounds, Giant Foundling and Rune Carver. Each background grants a specific feat. Strike of the Giant's feat for Giant Foundling, and Rune Shaper feat for the Rune Carver. The Strike of the Giant's feat enhances your weapon hits in one of several ways, and you choose the way when you select the feat. For example, it might do an additional d10 fire damage, or you might become invisible to the target if they fail a saving throw. This would be an incredible feat, but it's restricted to 2 to 5 uses per long rest, whatever your proficiency bonus is. The Rune Carver feat gives you the Comprehend Languages spell, with 1 free cast per long rest, and then 1 or 2 more spells from a spell list of 13 specific first level spells, which you can also cast from runes without any material components. You don't need to be a spellcaster to take the background that grants this feat, so it might be a good way to get a specific spell for your desired build. In addition to those 2 new feats, there are 6 more feats that require Strike of the Giant's feat and enhance it further. And there are also lots of options for associating your character with giant lore without having to take one of those backgrounds. So maybe you come from a place that was always fighting giants, or perhaps you've picked up a giant crafted toothpick that you use as a dagger. There are some random tables with these ideas to help you make your character randomly, if that's your preference. But overall, I think the Hulk Smash Barbarian subclass is the most interesting player option here.
Chapter 2, Giants in Play. While the first chapter offers options for players, Chapter 2, Giants in Play, is really a section for game masters, dungeon masters, to not only flesh out the giant NPCs, but also think carefully about their place in the world and in your game. Now, most books about lore tend to be heavy in reading, as it should be, but this chapter has a lot of charts, from name generation to age to family size and adventure hooks. I love reading lore, but having all these charts are a great way to roll up a quick NPC for your game. Discussions about worship and their origins are a large part of this chapter as well. And I say discussions because the book makes it clear that you have the final say to who or what the giants worship, and gives you different lore options to help you think outside the box. However, if you're looking for lore, you'll be satisfied with the story of the high god Ammon and their system of hierarchy among the giants, as well as where they fit in the worlds of Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, and more. Chapter 3, Giant Adventures. If you love all the charts in the second chapter, then you will love how much more they are in this chapter, Giant Adventures. This chapter is also mainly for dungeon masters and deals with what kind of monsters hang out with these giants, adventure hooks, campaign ideas. Uh, Again, not heavy with lore, but there are encounter charts by type of giant or setting, like a dinosaur world, or ruins, or if they associate with fiends. I think the Giant Necropolis is my favorite setting chart. Then you get charts about adventure hooks, from schemes to Titan versus Titan scenarios. The campaign section at the end is not as chart heavy, but has a good number of campaign ideas for your characters. But that's all they are, just ideas. You will need other chapters of this book to help create these campaigns.
Yeah, you're not getting giant folklore canon in this chapter, but you are getting different ideas for what giants could be in your world. And yeah, there's a lot of random encounter charts if that's what you're looking for.
But Dungeon Masters will find Chapter 4, Giant Enclaves, as the most useful section. This has 18 one-shot adventures or scenarios you can pop in anywhere in any campaign. You get maps for each enclave with lore, some mystery or magic wonder, and options of possible monster encounters you will find in this area. Each enclave does its best to feel unique from one another.
Yeah, it's always useful to have a location with battle maps, denizens, and treasures ready to go. Although they're all giant related, there's a variety of location types.
Indeed, such as Singing Sands, a desert adventure, or let's see if I can pronounce this, Hieti's Hearth, which takes place in a giant's feast hall, or Dreamer's Reach, my personal favorite, that deals with mysterious magic and monoliths that were once a hand of a giant primordial being. Chapter 5, Giant's Treasure, is interesting. It has listings of new giant themed magic items, but my favorite section is the discussion about the size of the magic item. I don't know if you experienced this, RJ. When my players have fought and defeated giants in the past, there's always that discussion about the giant's magical items, and it would be too big for the halfling or dwarf in the group. Well, now we have options for dungeon masters to what they can do in those situations.
Yeah, and there are 26 new magic items. There's 3 artifacts, 7 legendary items, 10 very rare, and 8 rare. And that's it. My favorite is the blunderbuss called the Thunderbuss. It's a gun with no loading property and no need for ammunition. Yes, please.
Don't tell my players. Uh, Also, I love the random charts of what you can find in a giant's bag of treasure. The final major section, the Bestiary, has over 60 new monsters, variations of giants, both humanoid and animal, and dinosaurs, and some truly awful things like bag jelly, which sort of grossed me out a bit. I was impressed with the selection of monsters available from different myths, from Fomorians, the giant trolls of Norse mythology, to the grinning cat. Personally, the death giants were my favorite entry.
The CR ratings of these new monsters range from 1/2 to 27. And I was happy to see 3 new dinosaurs. But Circle of the Moon druids or casters of polymorph might be interested in the 2 new beasts, the spotted lion with a CR of 3 and the titanothere with a CR of 5. Both can knock a target prone as part of their attack if they've moved 20 feet straight toward the target before the attack.
If you love Fistman's Treasury of Dragons, then you will love this book, unless Giants is not a topic that interests you. They are both similar in that they are both a mashup of lore, lots of monsters, and lots of encounters. There may not have been a lot of player options, but Path of the Giant and the feats available look a lot of fun to play. Personally, I think this book would have been great for my collection, just because it's a good reference to creating campaign settings with giants quickly in 4th, 5th edition D&D. The lore is good, but those familiar with giants in D&D already may not find much new lore to delve into. And I'm surprised they waited so long after the Storm King's Thunder to publish this book. The Storm King's Thunder, in case you don't know, is a adventure module dealing with giants that came out many years ago, and this would have been a perfect companion piece to that book. I was especially impressed that they included a blurb about the old Against the Giants module from way back, and how this book can be a help to use that adventure. I can see why new and old players wouldn't like this book. There are a lot of adventure hooks and maps of encounters that can keep you busy for a long time. But again, if giants aren't your thing, what do you think, RJ?
Um, I'm not into giants, so there's not a lot in this book for me. There are a few things that are useful, though, like the monsters and the magic items. The character options are okay, but probably not worth getting the entire book for. It's silly that D&D players would have to buy this entire book of mostly DM material to get access to the player options, or convince their DM to buy it. It must be working for WotC to publish DM books with a couple of player options in them, but I think it's a disservice to players. But anyways, if you are a DM that really wants to use giants, and Storm King's Thunder isn't what you need, then this book could be useful.
So, viewers, what has been your favorite encounter with giants? Let us know in the comments below. Again, please like and subscribe. And I wanted to end this with a pun, but nothing I could think of was big enough. Take care. No, that's